Welcome back, everybody. This is Leadership 101, and I'm Chris Stewart. Welcome back to class. We're going into lesson 3 right now of chapter 1, the self. And as many of us may be frightened to discuss on occasion or vulnerable to discuss, everyone has fears. Everyone has blockages or hurdles to get over as we pursue our goals or our desires. And there's a lot of things that come into play during that time. Your own inner self hurdles, and there are some things that come from the outside that are just really outside of our control. So when we start digging in and really diving into the self, after we've created goals for ourselves, like we did in lesson 1, and like we do in lesson 2, really try to dive into exactly who we are and what we want, and then adapt those goals to where we are currently and where we want to be. And then this lesson, the one that actually is a favorite of mine, because it's when you really get to know yourself. And it has several moments of vulnerability, several opportunities to really define what's really stopping you. What's really stopping you from getting up at 4:30 in the morning, if that's in fact what you wanted to do, so that you can be successful the rest of your day. Is it because you don't want to get up? Or is it because you're afraid that you're going to succeed? Is it you haven't gone to bed, till 2 in the morning, the day before or the morning before? What are those things? If you wanted to make a pristine physical body of your own, are you lifting enough? Are you working out enough? Are you doing those things consistently and daily? And so it takes a lot to really pull yourself into all of your own crap, really. All of the things that you think or the excuses you're finding that may come up or that are coming up right now that are significantly stopping you from achieving your goals. And it's not easy because you have to look yourself in the mirror. It's really great to start to decide, and it's exciting to decide, hey, these are the things I want out of my life. These are the things I want for myself. It's great to write those down. It's super fun. It's awesome to take personality tests. Some people think they're time consuming, but I think they're indicative of who you are and quite interesting. And they're fascinating once you start to really look at it and to start to decide, is that who I am? Is that who I want to be? But this lesson forces you to look in the mirror, to say to yourself, these are the things that are stopping me from getting to the places I want to get. And if you're setting goals, it's a place where you start to realize, am I making the right goals? Or are they too small? Or are they too big? What's realistic? What's not? Personally, anything's possible. Some things are improbable, but anything is possible. If you learn to overcome your fears, and if you learn to overcome the hurdles that you yourself are putting in before you. It's hard to control, or you can't control the things that aren't you when you put them into the mix. But what's always easy to control is you and your decisions. That's why self is the very first thing that we look at, so that we can start to define what we want, truly what we're capable of, and finding out what are the new things that we need to reach out to get. And that's all a part of the hurdles. So when you're looking at hurdles, when you're diving through those types of things, right? So using some of my examples from earlier, you're trying to make that pristine body. You're trying to focus and make all of those things, right? If you're doing that, you got to be eating the right things. Now, to make that analogy, if you're in the office, are you showing up early? Are you showing up on time? Do those things matter to you? Can you take your work home and do that at home without adjusting too much of your family unit? Right? And it all is dependent upon your goals. It's all dependent upon what you believe you're capable of accomplishing. And that's, again, so what we're going to do is you need to define for yourself, what is that? What is that hurdle that's stopping you from getting to those goals that you've set for yourself, right? The lessons that you set, 1, 2, and 3 that I told you to do in lesson 1. And then after looking through your own profile of how you see yourself, right? Because this isn't about how everybody else sees you. This is about how you see yourself. What's coming up next? What's making you not get to that spot? Are you missing that class because you're late? Because you don't want to wake up early? Are you missing that class because you're thinking about all the woes in life that you have? And I'm not saying that you shouldn't think about those things. I'm just saying once you define them, whatever those things are, you're now capable, perfectly capable, of finding and creating methods to get past those. All right? So, example 1, not getting up early enough, right? So if you got a couple of things that could go on with that. That means you're not going to bed on time, all right, which is possible. Okay, and you do need sleep. That's something that's been discussed before, and there's enough research out there to say that you need, 7 to 8 hours of sleep. And personally, I need 6, and that's individual, so everybody needs a little bit different, but somewhere between 6 to 8 hours of sleep that you're looking to have. So are you going to bed on time? When you wake up, are you getting up, or are you hitting the snooze button? What are you doing? Right? When you wake up, are you scheduling it right? So if you have something to be at 6:30, are you waking up and it takes 30 minutes to get to your location? Are you getting up at 6? Or are you and then trying to get your stuff together and run out the door? Or are you getting up at 5:45 to kind of get yourself up and awake, going through a cycle for yourself, a routine to get yourself moving, and then get in the car, getting into wherever you need to be, and getting ready by 6:30. Is that something? What is it that you're doing? So if you're not waking up early, there's a lot of identification things that come into play there. And then if you're fearful of something, so I find that a lot of the times when we are doing pieces that you want to excel at, you're also afraid of what other people will think. So more and more in the world of social media, and I'm one of them, tend to think too much about what other people think instead of being aware. So sometimes I'm telling myself that, and sometimes I'm telling other people. That's really important to write those goals down. Because when you write the goals down and you say that you can accomplish them, then it doesn't really matter what anybody else thinks. Because they're your goals. They're things that you're chasing. That's why it's important, like when you're coaching, for coaches, not to tell you exactly what to do, because then it becomes their goals. Coaches are there to help push you, for you to achieve your goals, because they're your goals, right? And again, it's not about what they think. It's about are you helping doing the processes and accountability to getting and reaching to those places. And that's all part of it. So you have to write down all of the foreseeable and leave some blanks for some things that are unforeseeable that you may run into, that you can write down. That's going to help you understand how to get to that and reach that goal. And that's really all that this is. That's all the parts and the moving pieces, is that you have to figure out what is it that you want, right? Who you really are. And then what are the things that are going to get in the way that you know and learn how to reach over those hurdles, so that you have a routine in play. Happens all the time. But those are the things that you need to continue to search for and take a day and write down. So we've collected, all right? So we're in the world of self. We've collected our goals. We decided, hey, this is what I believe that who I am and what I want to be. I myself am beginning to define me, right? No one else is doing that. Number 3 is now I'm setting up some things and some reasons as to why people might be, or what might be getting in my own way, right? And write those down. And write about 3. You don't need to write a list of 10 per se right now. We can come back to that later. But right now, based on those 3 goals, we talked about working in 3s. You got 3 goals. You take about 3 tests. Write down 3 of those things that you're really grateful, like why you're chasing after those goals. That's what you're trying to do. You're trying to figure out that why. And then really, the next part, these hurdles, are the 3 things are going to help develop the how, which we're going to kind of get into and create the process here in lesson 4 coming up next. So I hope you guys have enjoyed this lesson. It's a little bit of a longer one because it's a little bit more of a deep thinking lesson. And it's not just, hey, welcome to 101, write down some goals. It's, no, look yourself in the mirror. Figure out, based on the things that you know about you now, what is it that you want to do, and how do you think things are could fall over and stop you from getting to that place. And that's a perception. What do you think might fall in front of you that you won't be able to reach those goals? And then we can go ahead and discuss those. So check it out. Look online for our Google Classroom. It is Leadership 101 by Empower Success. And you can look us up and you can get on at DUDATMZ. It's open to everybody. It's free. So jump on in, join us, and you can catch us back on YouTube any time of the week. We're going to continue to discuss our next couple lessons here, but hope to see you again in lesson 4 of chapter 1 of Self. This is Chris Stewart, and you've been watching Leadership 101. Have a great, great day. Take care.